Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our tour of the Regional Recycled Water Advanced Purification Center, our demonstration facility for our Regional Recycled Water Program. As we are waiting for everyone to join, I am going to go ahead and launch a poll. What we'd like to do is just find out your background and your understanding of the advanced purification process. So if you could take a few seconds to answer this question. What is your understanding of the advanced purification process? I'm new to this. Fair, I'm familiar with it, but still have a lot to learn. Good, I know quite a bit, but I'm no expert. And excellent, I'm an expert. So if you haven't voted yet, if you could just take the next 15 seconds or so to vote. And we're going to go ahead and close the poll in about 10 seconds. So if you haven't voted yet, please go ahead and do so. All right, great. So let me go ahead and share our results here. So we've got a few people, about 35% that are completely new to this, and that's great. That's the tour is designed for you. 25% of the people whose understanding is fair. And then let's see, 40% of the people who say their understanding is good, but they're no expert. I have a feeling you're being modest, and we've got some experts in there as well too. And just want to let you know, there is an opportunity at the end to ask questions. So if you have any questions that go beyond what was discussed during our tour, please feel free to ask them. We're happy to answer. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. I want to start by introducing myself. My name is Rupam Soni. I work for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, and I work on outreach related to this program. And with me today is also my colleague, Yvonne, and you will be hearing from her in a little bit. And also online, we have a number of people here to provide us with technical support. We've got Steve and Twani and Monica, and we're all really excited that you're here with us, and we're looking forward to showing you our facility here virtually. So we are on the Zoom webinar platform. You are currently muted. I just want to let you know we are also live streaming this right now to YouTube. If you have questions or any technical issues, please feel free to use the chat feature and type it into the chat, let us know. And then at the end, we will take your questions there. You can also at the end raise your hand, and we're happy to unmute you. You can ask your questions out loud as well. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Yvonne to get started.
Thank you, Rupam, and welcome everyone. So this is the outline of what we're going to cover today. We're going to start with an overview of Metropolitan and the Regional Recycled Water Program, which is more of a presentation format. And then we're going to virtually tour the Regional Recycled Water Advanced Purification, and that's in the form of slides, photos, videos, and then finally we'll wrap it up. So Metropolitan Water District of Southern California is the nation's largest water wholesaler. We provide water to the area covered in the map, As you can see, it covers San Diego up to Ventura and as far east as Riverside. In total, we cover 6 counties. And within our service area, we have 19 million people. For reference, that's roughly about the population of the state of New York. Our region covers 5,200 square miles, and we provide water to our 26 member agencies, which you can also see there on the map. And our region is a $1 trillion economy, making it the 13th largest economy of the world. And let's take a look at our water supply here in Southern California. Metropolitan was formed back in 1928 to bring water from the Colorado River because of our rapidly growing region. In the 1930s, during the height of the Depression, through mountains and deserts, we constructed the 242 miles of what is now the Colorado River Aqueduct to bring water here to Southern California. Then after World War II, the region grew even more, and we needed an additional water supply. So Metropolitan invested in the State Water Project, which brings water from Northern California to Southern California via the California Aqueduct. And today, as our region continues to advance, we've invested in conservation and local supplies. You may have seen or participated in our conservation programs. We offer rebates for water-saving devices or for changing our landscape to drought-tolerant plants and native plants. We've also invested in local water supply projects using water sources that are available here in Southern California, like groundwater, recycled water, seawater. And generally, what we've done is invested in those projects through our member agencies. But for the first time, Metropolitan is investing in its own project, partnering with the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts. And our project is called the Regional Recycled Water Program. And here is a short video of the program.
Planning for future water supplies in sunny and vibrant Southern California requires thinking big. With droughts and the effects of climate change, we need new sustainable water sources that are available to us rain or shine. A solution? Recycled water. While the Southland is already a leader in using recycled water, there is more that can be done. A good example is the Sanitation District's Joint Water Pollution Control Plant in Carson. Here, water from homes, businesses, and industry is cleaned and released to the ocean. But now, there's a plan to put this water to better use, purifying it so it can be used again. The plan is a partnership between the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California and the Sanitation Districts of Los Angeles County to create a new regional recycled water program. Big agencies, big thinking.
So as the video mentioned, we're all water consumers in our homes, businesses, and industries. That water is called wastewater, and it flows to a wastewater treatment facility in Los Angeles In Los Angeles County, most of that water goes to the Sanitation District's Joint Water Pollution Control Plant, where it's clean, then it goes out to the ocean. This program would take that clean water and send it to an advanced water treatment facility where it would be further purified. And then that purified water could be used to replenish basins with groundwater, underground water, and it could provide water to industries, and it can also be a new source of water into Metropolitan's water treatment plants to go out through Metropolitan's water delivery system. Now let's take a look at this in terms of numbers. The program could provide 150 million gallons per day or 168,000 acre feet of water per year. If you're wondering what an acre foot of water is, it's about the size of a football field and 1 foot high, which equals to about 326,000 gallons of water. That's enough water for 3 homes for 1 year. So 168,000 acre feet would be enough water for 500,000 homes. It would be the largest project of its kind in the world. So we're calling it the Regional Recycled Water Program because it really is regional. In the map, you can see what the program would cover. The advanced water treatment facility that we would construct would be right next to the Sanitation District's Joint Water Pollution Control Plant, which is located in Carson. The purified water from the plant would go out to 4 groundwater basins in Los Angeles and Orange counties: the West Coast Basin, Central Basin, Orange County Basin, and the San Gabriel Basin. And then water can also be provided to industries which are located in the harbor area, very close to the facility. And as regulations are developed, we can send this water to 2 of Metropolitan's water treatment plants to go through the treatment system and then out to delivery. These 2 treatment plants are the Weymouth treatment plant in Laverne and Demer treatment plant, which is located in Yorba Linda. And from there, water can go to many of our member agencies through our regional water delivery system. So in the map, we had a few spreading ground sites. And if you're wondering what a spreading ground is, this is an image. It's a large open area where we can send this purified water. The soil conditions at these spreading grounds make it pretty easy for the water to soak into the ground and become part of the groundwater basin. So this is a short bird's eye view video of what the facility could ultimately look like. And like I said, it could be the largest of its kind in the world. And before I hand it over to Rupam, I want to emphasize the 3 uses of purified water for this program. Purified water can help replenish groundwater basins here in Los Angeles and Orange counties. In Southern California, we rely heavily on our groundwater basins. They provide us with about 30% of our supplies. So this is really an opportunity to refill them, and this program would help do that. We would also provide water to industries, and these are industries that use a lot of water in their industrial processes. And again, this can be used as a new source of water into Metropolitan's water treatment plants. There are regulations for this that are expected to come out in 2023 that would allow us to send that water to these treatment plants that will mix in water from Colorado River, Northern California, go through the water treatment process, and go out through our delivery system to many of our member agencies. And with that, Rupam will talk more about the Regional Recycled Advanced Purification Center.
Great, thank you so much, Yvonne. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's see. All right. Okay, so Yvonne gave an overview of our program. I just wanted to mention a few really exciting things that have happened with the program over the past few months. In November, our Metropolitan Board and also the board of our project partner, LA County Sanitation Districts, decided to move forward with the next phase of our program. That's the environmental planning phase. And so we're really excited about that. This is the first time Metropolitan is pursuing an in-region local water supply. Big deal for us. And so we're eager to work on this next phase and move forward with the program. We're also establishing a number of regional partnerships. So many with those agencies that manage the groundwater basins that may be taking this water in the future. We also, a big one for us is we are working on a partnership with the Southern Nevada Water Authority and the Central Arizona Project. So we have worked with both of those agencies for decades on issues related to the Colorado River, but they are interested in partnering with us on this program and perhaps funding some of it in the future in exchange for taking some of that water that we use off the Colorado River during, years where we don't need that water and using it instead. So this project could not just only benefit Southern California, but the entire Southwest region. And so here's what a schedule looks like. I mentioned our board approved our next steps in the program and our partnerships back in November and December 2020. We're going to be in our environmental planning phase from 2021 through 2024. That's what's estimated. And then after that, we would go, if our board approves, into design and construction. And then the facilities would all be operational in 2032. So a few more years to go here. People always ask us about the cost of this project. So this compares this program cost to the cost of other local water supplies, so stormwater, groundwater, other recycled water, and seawater desalination. So you can see that the cost of this project is about average if you look at all these different local water supplies, and also within average of recycled water programs. So very much is in the range of what water reuse programs cost. It also will provide a number, tens and thousands of jobs during construction, and then hundreds more after that as we continue to operate this facility. Okay, so now we're going to move into our virtual tour portion. So our demonstration facility, our Regional Recycled Water Advanced Purification Center, is located in Carson on the campus of the Joint Water Pollution Control Plant. I'm actually here on site today. We have a learning center, which we put in a few years ago for tours. So once we go back to opening up again, we welcome you all to come and visit us here in person. And we would start here in this room with a presentation similar to what Yvonne gave. And then we would walk through our facility here all together. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide you through that facility using a combination of pictures and graphics and videos. So let's start with a video and what I'm actually going to do, I don't think I shared the sound. So I'm going to stop my share for a second. I'm going to share the sound and put this back up again. So if you can just bear with me here. All right, so let's get started here.
Welcome to the Regional Recycled Water Advanced Purification Center, a demonstration facility that could become one of the largest advanced water treatment plants to recycle water in the world. Located on the campus of the Los Angeles County Sanitation District's Joint Water Pollution Control Plant in Carson, the site features a learning center, operations trailer, and the demonstration plant, which is testing a 3-step purification process using proven technology. Step 1. Membrane bioreactors. Helpful microorganisms remove ammonia and other forms of nitrogen, while membranes filter any remaining particles. Step 2. Reverse osmosis. The core of the purification process, water is pushed through membranes to remove over 99% of all impurities. Step 3. Ultraviolet light and advanced oxidation. Water passes through ultraviolet light charged with a powerful oxidant to destroy any remaining viruses and trace chemical compounds. The end result is purified water that is safe to use. Recycled, purified, reliable, a new source of high-quality water for Southern California.
Okay, so as you saw in the video, we are testing an innovative purification process here at the Advanced Purification Center. And I'm going to talk about what makes it innovative in a few minutes. But because it's innovative, we have to get regulatory approval of the process. And so that takes considerable work, and we'll be discussing that as well. And the other goal of having this demonstration facility is it provides us the data that we need for a full-scale program. So costs, operational criteria, design parameters. And then my favorite part of this facility is a perfect platform to bring in people to learn about both the facility and this project and understand how this really ensures that we have a reliable water supply here in Southern California. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through this facility and follow the flow of the water through. So we've got a 3-step purification process that we're going to be learning more about. Our first step is membrane bioreactors. Our second step is reverse osmosis. And then our third step is ultraviolet disinfection and advanced oxidation. So we start with our source water, which is clean wastewater from the LA County Sanitation District's Joint Water Pollution Control Plant. And I have a sample. So I also have some water samples along the way that I'll be showing to you. But this is what the water looks like when it first comes in. So it is cleaned water. However, there's definitely an opportunity to further purify it to meet drinking water standards. So the sanitation districts have constructed a pipeline that brings that water from their wastewater treatment facility to our advanced water treatment plant. And it's all very close by, so it makes it really easy. There's a pipeline, comes in, brings the water to our first step, which is our membrane bioreactors. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. So the membrane bioreactors consist, it's like a two-step process in one. They consist of biological process tanks, and these are the tanks that you see here. It's this long concrete tank. When you look inside the tank, you see this water here and all these bubbles inside. So this is an aerobic tank. That means we send air through it. And they're called biological process tanks because we have microorganisms inside these tanks, and they are feeding on the organic matter that's remaining in the water, as well as any of the nitrogen material. So our source water, our treated wastewater, has ammonia in it. So that's some of the material that they're processing as well as some of that remaining organic material. The microorganisms are in here for a couple of hours to remove those materials. And then after the biological process tanks, the water flows into the next part of the membrane bioreactors, which are membrane tanks. And these are what our membrane tanks look like. They're these long metal tanks you see here, and inside are these membranes. And you can see the pictures of the membranes down here on the right-hand side. I'm going to also show you a little video. So we go in and remove the membranes from our membrane tanks every once in a while. So I want to just show you what they look like. So these are called hollow fiber membranes, and I have a little sample of them here. A little hard to see on camera, but these hollow fiber membranes are straw-like. So there's a tiny hole going through the middle, and there's also tiny holes all along the outside of the membrane fiber. And these tiny holes are 0.04, so 4/100ths of a micrometer, and a micrometer is 1/1000th of a millimeter. It just makes them really, really tiny holes that you only can see under a microscope. What we do is we apply a negative pressure. And so that's like a vacuum, and it pulls the water in through the tiny holes all along the outside, in through the inside of those membrane fibers. Any particles that are stuck, that are in the water, like those microorganisms, any other particles down to 1/100th of a grain of sand, will get stuck on the outside of the membranes. And so you end up with water that is much cleaner than what we started with. And this is what that water looks like right here. So let's move on to, the next step here. All right, so the membrane bioreactors, it's what makes this purification process innovative. Membrane bioreactors have been around for many, many, many years, but they've been used really traditionally in wastewater applications. There's some use of them for non-potable reuse, but there's some international work that's been done in Australia, some work in Singapore, and Metropolitan and the LA County Sanitation Districts also did some pilot studies when we started working together about 10 years ago, using membrane bioreactors to help purify treated wastewater to reuse again. And we found promising results. So we decided to put this process into our demonstration facility, but because it's innovative, we do have to do extensive water quality testing. So our facility here is always brimming with activity, people collecting water samples, testing them here on site. We have a lab. We have a lab in Laverne that we use. We use the LA County Sanitation District's lab, also here at the Joint Water Pollution Control Plant, and outside labs as well. And we have online instruments. So constantly testing the water to ensure that we're meeting all the water quality criteria. And then once that testing is done, and the testing will be done, we expect this first phase of testing to be done in a couple of months, then we would go ahead and gather all of our data, evaluate it, and submit it for regulatory approval. Once we get approval from the state of California for using membrane bioreactors for water reuse like this, then our results can be applied to any project within California, and the data can be applied across the globe. So it's a huge impact to the world of water reuse. And the reason we're looking at membrane bioreactors is because they're they're two processes in one. They really help increase efficiency and save costs. So a quick summary here of our membrane bioreactors. They're really effective at removing ammonia and other forms of nitrogen. They're effective at removing microorganisms as well, and tiny particles up to 1/100th of a grain of sand. So just things that you can see under the microscope. This is our longest process in the whole purification process. It takes about 2 hours or so. And the reason for that is the biological process, making sure those microorganisms have the right conditions to be able to remove that organic matter and ammonia from the water just takes a while. Now, our membranes here, we talked about how they work, but we have to clean them quite frequently. Every 12 minutes, we run air through these membranes, and that process is called relaxation, and it forces all the particles that would have collected on top of the membranes to fall off. And then once a week, we do a more thorough clean, a maintenance clean, and then every few months or so, we do an even more thorough cleaning where we take those membranes out of the reactors and clean up the tanks and everything. So now these membrane fibers are supposed to last 10 years, but as part of the testing process, what we do is we cut these membrane fibers. And I have a couple pictures. We just did a cut a couple weeks ago. And so every few weeks, we've been cutting more and more. And again, that is part of the testing process. So you can see our team here, they're just taking a pair of scissors and going through and cutting the membranes. And what it is it shows, we're trying to show what happens when our membranes are compromised. So when something goes wrong with them, what happens to our water quality data? And the good thing is we have multiple steps in this purification process with a lot of redundancy. And so you'll see next that the reverse osmosis process is also very effective at helping purify the water too. And so our water leaves our membrane bioreactors and heads over to our reverse osmosis membranes. And this is what these membranes look like. So inside these long cylinders that you see here on the upper right corner, these cylinders are called vessels. We have 7 membrane elements. And what I have here is a sample of a membrane element cut open so you can see what it looks like. It's got multiple layers. And what happens is we apply a very high pressure of about 180 pounds per square inch. It forces the water molecules to go through these different layers and end up in the center tube. And that water that makes its way through is called the permeate. Now, any impurities that might be in the water get stuck in these other layers. And that water that doesn't make it through and those impurities are called the concentrate. Now, what we do is we send both the permeate and the concentrate through the reverse osmosis process again. And that's just to optimize how much water we're able to purify, as well as the levels that we're able to purify it through. So we're able to just purify that water even more by sending it through again. And reverse osmosis has the capabilities of removing over 99% of any impurities that might be in the water. So it's pretty amazing, and it's really the workhorse of the purification process. And after the reverse osmosis process, this is what our water looks like. So you can see it is very clean. I'm going to do a before and after just to I've got multiple waste samples here. So let's see, here's the before. This is what we started with from the LA County Sanitation Districts. This is what we end with after reverse osmosis. We'll do this again after our third and final step too, but then when you look at them together, you can definitely see the difference here. So a quick summary, reverse osmosis, again, removes 99% of the materials in the water, really effective at removing ions, so things with a charge like salts, also very effective at removing microorganisms, nitrogen compounds, viruses, organic matter, pharmaceuticals, the list goes on and on. PFAS chemicals, which you hear about quite frequently. I guess in the news a few months ago, they really came out. It came out a lot of information about these PFAS chemicals, which you find like in nonstick pans and Teflon and things like that. And reverse osmosis is really effective at removing things down to the molecular level. So while we talked about the membranes and our membrane bioreactors working down to the microscopic level, this is a whole other level of them, that molecular level. Reverse osmosis membranes got their start in the desalination industry. So they were used starting in the 1950s to take salt out of seawater. So if you ever go and visit a desalination facility, you will see a lot of reverse osmosis membranes. There's one down in Southern California, there's one down in Carlsbad, and then across the world, they're heavily used, especially in the Middle East. I mentioned how this is a high pressure. We apply a pressure of 180 pounds per square inch to force those water molecules to go through the different layers of the reverse osmosis process. That's the equivalent of carrying an elephant on the palm of your hand. So again, very high pressure. And then while we were cleaning the membranes in our membrane bioreactors every 12 minutes, in the reverse osmosis process, we clean these membranes every 4 to 6 months. So already the water is at a higher level, and so we have to clean the membranes less frequently because of that. So now we are ready for our third and final step in the purification process, ultraviolet light and advanced oxidation. And this is our final polishing step. And the way it works, as you can see here, this picture on the left, this is our reactor. And inside our reactor, and I have a sample, are 8 UV light bulbs. So I have a sample, but it just shows one. But we've got 8 inside there. And the way UV light works, it's a great disinfectant. It's great at destroying any microorganisms or viruses that might be remaining in the water. And then when you combine UV light with a powerful oxidant, so sodium hypochlorite or hydrogen peroxide, you form these molecules, these very powerful molecules called radicals, and they go around and destroy bonds. And so if there's any trace levels, very low levels of contaminants in the water, this process will destroy all those. And what you get at the end is near distilled water. So here is a sample of the water at the end. You can see here what it looks like. And this is, let's do that before and after thing again. This is what we started with. This is what we end with. And hopefully you can see that difference. And this is in just over 2 hours that this all happens. So a quick summary here of our ultraviolet light advanced oxidation process. Again, very effective at removing viruses. So super important in our pandemic world today, microorganisms, and then also trace levels of organic matter and any other chemicals that might be remaining in the water. This is a very quick process. It takes just under a minute for this process to complete. The UV light that we're applying is a very powerful UV light. So it's got a wavelength of 254 nanometers. It's UVC light, which is more powerful than any light that you experience here on Earth from the sun. We just get UVA and UVB light. So even on that day when you get the worst sunburn, this light is much more powerful than that. And UV light is now kind of a standard thing that is used to sanitize facilities. So like in hospitals, food preparation facilities, you can even buy devices that you shine a UV light on and you put your phone inside or something like that, and it shines a UV light on it and it will help disinfect your phone surface. So all kinds of uses for UV light. And then I told you all that our site was brimming with activity. Just wanted to share some pictures with you of our staff and also the LA County Sanitation District staff gathering and testing water quality samples as part of our testing and monitoring plan, and how important that is to us to ensure that we're producing high quality water that could be reused for groundwater replenishment here. And so this research can make a huge impact, not just for our project, but for other projects throughout the state of California. And we're really excited about it. So with all of our water quality testing here, we're ensuring that we're producing highly purified water that could eventually be reused and become a future water supply here for Southern California to ensure we have water reliability for the future. And that's so important, especially this year. We've got a critically dry year, so it's really important that we continue to diversify our water supplies and seek new sources such as this one. So that takes care of it for me. At this point, we're happy to take any questions that you might have. And I noticed some things were coming in the chat.
We do have a question, Rupam.
Okay.
Diana asked, what's the percolation rate for the holding basins?
Oh yeah, I saw that question come in. Great question, Diana. There is an answer to it and I don't know it. So in a couple of slides, you'll get my email address, and Twani will also be putting my email and Yvonne's email address into the chat. So if you don't mind just emailing me with that question later, and I'm happy to put you in touch, get that answer to you, or put you in touch with a person that can provide that information.
Yeah. I don't see any other questions. Do we have any questions from YouTube?
We do not. No questions.
Michael has a question. It says, you mentioned it is almost as pure as distilled water. Is there a reason not to distill the water?
Yeah, so distilled water. So actually that's something I didn't mention, but yes, it's almost near distilled at the end. And then what we would do right now, this is a test facility. So all the purified water, all the concentrate water, everything flows back to the sanitation district's joint water pollution control plant to go through the wastewater treatment process. But if we were to make this into a full-scale facility, we would add minerals back into our end product right here. And to stabilize it. And that's just because if we were going to put that water into a pipeline, it's so pure that the pipe material would leach into that water. So we need to add minerals back in. And that's the reason we're not distilling it either, is just we've just got to add minerals back into it to ensure that it's safe for our health when we consume it.
And a follow-up question from Michael. Does distilled water take more energy than the process you have described?
Distilled water would take a little bit more energy. We're almost there, but yeah, it would take a little bit more to get to that point.
Okay, and I believe Diana has a question. She raised her hand.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the holdup for it being approved. I know right now it's in the testing phase. Why, if it's processes that we're aware of in the water industry that are efficient, what's preventing it from being approved so far right now?
It's just, Diana, that has to do with the testing process. So the testing process, you have to do something called baseline testing, which is just like operating the plant as you would normally operate it. And then you move into, and that's about 4 months. And then you move into a phase of challenge testing following that. And that's a minimum of 8 months where you cut the membranes and you can cut them a little bit more and gather more data. So that's the phase that we're just finishing up, is that challenge testing phase. So we've been, and before we started even our baseline testing, we were just operating the plant and making sure everything was running the way it was supposed to. So and then once we get the report in, the regulators approve it, and then they review it and approve it, and then they grant us that approval. So that's just the process. What they're specifically looking for that we have to prove is pathogen removal. And so that's a lot of the data that we're sending through. And it's just ensuring, because it's, eventually could be drinking water. It's just ensuring that we've got water here that is safe, that the process works the way it's supposed to. And if you have more questions about the testing process, our testing plan is on our website, and we'll share the website with you too at the end. So please feel free to take a look at that, and also feel free to email me.
Thanks, Rupam. And we have a question from Victor. Is there anything that is not filtered, pharmaceuticals or anything else that's not filtered?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's part of our testing process to see, what if there are materials that might be an issue in the water. What we're seeing is so far is that the process is very effective at removing materials or bringing them down to levels that are lower than the water quality threshold levels, so that they meet all the water quality requirements.
Okay, and Jack is asking, what is the total cost of the project?
The total cost of the project is, the capital costs are $3.4 billion. The annual operating costs are $129 million. So those are our estimates right now. During the environmental planning phase, we will be not finalizing, but just getting more information. And so it will give us a better cost estimate. And then that equates to a unit cost of just over $1,800 per acre foot. And then that also does not include any grant funding. We do expect to get grant funding for this program. We have grant funding for our demonstration facility. We also will be applying for low-cost loans, and then we will also have partnerships. So currently the LA County sanitation districts are contributing money towards our environmental planning phase, as well as to this demonstration facility resources. And then we have our other partners such as Southern Nevada and others that are interested too in partnering with us on this. That will offset those costs.
Thanks, Pam. Matt asks, does the advanced treatment system function properly if the membrane bioreactors receive primary effluent instead of secondary?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually coming next. So after we finish right now, we are taking secondary treated wastewater. So wastewater that's gone through both the physical wastewater treatment process and the biological wastewater treatment process, and then taking that through the membrane bioreactors, reverse osmosis, and ultraviolet light advanced oxidation process. Our next step will be to take wastewater that's only gone through that first physical cleaning process and taking that into our demonstration facility and seeing how those membrane bioreactors work. And if we're able to just as efficiently or effectively remove pathogens, so those microorganisms and viruses and bacteria from the water, as well as the other, different impurities that we're looking at, and seeing what that process looks like. And if that works, that's even more efficient than what we have going on right now.
And Michael is asking, has the board considered whether they are going to use a design build approach to contracting or a more traditional design bid building?
So right now, based on the way the project is laid out, it is a more traditional design first and then build. However, things have not been decided completely yet. So we'll see how that moves forward.
Catherine asks, were there other treatment technologies that were considered in this treatment process?
Yeah, so the traditional treatment process that you see in an advanced water treatment facility. So for example, one that everyone knows about is Orange County Water District's groundwater replenishment system. It's a state-of-the-art facility in Fountain Valley. And what they use is very similar to this. So they use membranes followed by microfiltration membranes. So not membrane bioreactors, and that followed by reverse osmosis and ultraviolet light and advanced oxidation. So that was something that we looked at too. Our source water has a lot of nitrogen in it. And so to handle that nitrogen is why we were looking at membrane bioreactors.
And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but Raluca is asking, will the test data be available to the public?
Yes, the test data will be available to the public. So we will have that information up on our website. And there may be other ways that we will be sharing it too once we have that data, but definitely we do keep everything on our website. So I encourage you to take a look there.
Tim asks, does your cost figure of 1,800 acre feet include the delivery cost to member agencies?
So currently the cost for $1,800 per acre foot, the estimates that were done were all based on groundwater replenishment. So it includes delivery to those that manage the groundwater basin. When we go through this environmental planning process and we refine our estimates, we will be looking at some of the other options within our program as well too, such as delivery to our water treatment plants, potential delivery to our water treatment plants, and through that to our member agencies.
Okay, and Ron is asking, what parameter is measured in the water after the UV disinfection process to ensure that the water is treated?
Yes, there are a few things that we do measure, and gosh, I'm trying to. Will you? I don't want to say something wrong. I wanted to say something to you, and then I feel like I'm partially guessing, so I'm not going to say it. So will you do me a favor? There are definitely things that we are monitoring online that are to make sure that the process is working effectively. Will you reach out to me via email, and I'm happy to confirm that information and give it to you.
Yeah, and Rupam, would you like to change the screen to our email? That way people can.
Yes, let's do that.
Can jot that information down while we answer a few more questions. And it's also on the chat. Thank you, Tawny.
Okay, great. It's in the chat, so feel free to copy it from there. And I'm also going to point out our website because I keep referring to it, but MWDH2O, and it's the letter o.com/RRWP. is our website. Be Waterwise is our website for conservation information, also something very important, especially now. And then our emails. So this is Yvonne's email, icastillo@mwdh2o.com, and then my email, Rupam Soni, rsoni@mwdh2o.com. So yeah, feel free to contact either one of us anytime, and we're happy to answer any questions, and especially those questions we could not answer today.
There is one more question I see. It says, the cost of the city's operation next is approximately 3 times the cost of your program. Is that because of the size and flow?
Yeah, we have some people on our team and that are working with LADWP2 to just determine where the differences are in the costs. Their program is very similar to ours. It's taking treated wastewater from a large facility. There's Hyperion, ours, the Joint Water Pollution Control Plant. They also are using membrane bioreactors. They're also building a new conveyance system for this water. So definitely things that are similar. And yeah, they would be able to confirm with you exactly what makes those capital costs a little bit more than what we have projected here.
There was one other question about the cost of the plant. They wanted to know if the cost of the plant includes the distribution system.
It includes that conveyance system that would take the purified water through that new pipeline system to our groundwater basins, and then potentially to our water treatment plants.
Okay. I don't see any other questions.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you all for all those excellent questions. Wow, that was great. We really appreciate it. Well, I guess with that, let's go ahead and I guess end this so you guys can move on with your afternoon and evening. And again, feel free to contact us with any time with any other questions.
Yeah, and just a note, at the end of the webinar, when you close it, it'll give you a short survey, and if you can just answer a few questions, we'll appreciate it.
Great. Thank you all. I'll see you later.
Thank you.